Hello, everybody, and welcome to a moment of presence. I am Michelle with Moksha Grace Coaching. Should I say ho, ho, ho today, or we'll leave that for next week, I guess? I'll add the hat next week. We are here today to talk about a topic that can be delicate, yet it is one that has to be discussed, that you can mull over. And now is the perfect time because you still have 2 weeks before Christmas to make a game plan. So, what we're talking about today is the holiday gathering. And we talked a little bit about it for Thanksgiving, but this is, this is the one where you kind of go, well, let me just send a card. I don't really have to call them, do I? Or let me just send a gift. And it's avoiding situations, knowing in your mind what you're foreseeing could potentially happen. Is it easier? Sure, I guess it's easier to stay at home and not go. Is it easier to miss out on the festivities and the drama sometimes? Sure, I guess it is. But I guess my question I have for everybody is, are you here to experience life? Are you here to get through life? Or are you here to avoid life? What is it that you want to make of your life? And, I was talking to a client this week, and we were talking about the journey. And if we know that and we were talking about a ski slope, and we were talking about, well, why go up the slope and ride the gondola up if all you're going to do is ski down and you're going to end up down at the bottom anyway? So why not just go and stay and have hot cocoa? Why bother? Why go through the whole effort of getting up the mountain if all you're going to do is come down? And by the way, that down slope can be what, a minute and a half. It's like a roller coaster ride. Why bother? It's only a few seconds of fun. It's the experience. It's the joy. It's the fun. Can be the aggravation. It can be the way that it makes our blood move through our bodies. We get excited. And sometimes it can be unnerving and annoying. And you question yourself as you walk out the door and go, why did I expect anything different? But this is life. And we are spiritual beings, whatever you define as spiritual. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. That's what we are. And so you can choose to embrace that and look at the lessons that your life is presenting in front of you. So let's take a moment of presence, and we're going to take that deep breath. We're going to hold it for, let's say, a count of 3, and then we're just going to release. Okay? Big, deep breath in. Hold it. Release. Hi, Keith. Hi, Dax. So good to see you guys here. Take another big, deep breath in. Hold it. Big, deep breath out. When we're in the moment, we're able to enjoy what's around us. We're able to experience what is around us. If we're thinking about the last time the family got together and this and this and this happened, or there was this argument, now we're living in the past. And you're bringing that energy, those feelings, the emotional turmoil into the present. And why do we want to relive that? We're different people. Every day we change. Every day. we're advancing, let's hope, if we're working on ourselves. And so if we're not the same people, we're not going to have the same experience because we're going to respond differently. And we all know that I'm a big supporter of knowing the difference between a reaction and a response. So how can we prepare for what may or may not happen? Should we even be thinking about it? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's talk a little bit about unconditional love and acceptance. Because we all have those family members and friends and neighbors and people that we work with, that they are who they are. And if we go into a situation expecting somebody to act a certain way, it's the same as judging them. And so therefore you're prejudging. And that, does anybody really deserve that? Do you want to be treated that way? No. So why would we treat anybody else that way? So as I like to do sometimes, I bring in definitions. So let's look at the definition of unconditional love, because I think we get it a little confused sometimes. Unconditional love, simply put, is love without strings. No strings attached. You are who you are. I am who I am. It's love that you offer freely. So not, I love you because of what you can do for me. I tolerate you because of what you can help me experience, whatever. It's love that you give for the sole purpose of love, of being kind and being there for each other. It does not mean that you tolerate abuse. It does not mean that you get through a relationship or that you have to stay. You can love somebody unconditionally, accept them for who they are, including all of the things that you think are faults, and you can love them from afar. Might be better that way. Maybe you only see them during the holidays. But then when Aunt Betty, I don't have an Aunt Betty, comes up and says that thing that triggers you every year, if you've accepted the fact and you've worked on yourself and why is it triggering you, then you can kind of laugh it off, answer, don't answer, but you can stay in your power, right? So when you offer love and you offer support and you offer benefit and you accept somebody for where they are, then that means that you still have your boundaries intact. It means you're still true to who you are. And it means that you can pre-plan situations. Like I always talk about premeditating for the day. I would definitely premeditate before an interaction with family that you may not see eye to eye on everything. And guess what? It's okay. We're not always going to see eye to eye. But that doesn't mean that we have to assume the worst of somebody. If Aunt Betty always asks you the same thing that triggers you every single time, well, make up a fun comeback and leave it at that. Distract her and talk to her about something else. Do something different. You get to be in charge of your experience. So how you respond to those that may trigger you, situations that may trigger you, all of that is on you. You have to address those triggers within yourself. Why do they trigger you? Because we can't ask other people to change. They are who they are. And true love means loving them through the process that they're going through, the life that they're living, the lessons that they're learning, and being there, whether it's to listen. I was watching a TED Talk last night, and sometimes it's just about sitting and listening so that person feels heard. It doesn't have to be well, this was your fault, or that was my fault, or it doesn't have to be any of that. It can just be, this is what it is, and we can choose to move forward or not. So the bottom line is that you're in control. You may not feel like it, but you are. And you can make the decisions of how you want that relationship to be. Acceptance and unconditional love is a selfless act. And it also means that you have to love and accept yourself as well, and where you are. And you have to know yourself. You have to know your tolerance. If you can only take a certain amount of time in a room with XYZ, then give yourself that time. And you'll know, our bodies will tell us when it's time for us to get going. Oh, gotta go. I have another house to visit. Whatever the situation is. I'm not being a proponent and supporting lying. I am saying that you can be truthful and say, it's time for me to go. You have that power. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. And the same goes for everyone else. So if we all respect each other's choices, and we think that assume that it's coming from somewhere pure, versus jumping to conclusions of what something may mean, and be more open to the possibilities that other people are changing too. This has been a tough 2, 3, 4 years. People have changed. Some people have increased their social anxiety from being at home too much. Some people have been working on themselves. Some people have changed their beliefs. Every interaction is going to be different. If you take responsibility for who you are and how you show up, don't come in with your prejudgments. Don't come in with what happened last year or the year before or every single year of your entire life, and just say, I'm here to experience life, and I'm going to just be my best self. And of course, the other thing that I was listening to today in a meditation that I did, it was wonderful. And I'm sure you've heard the 3 gates. You ask yourself the questions, the very important questions. Is it true? Is it true? Before you say something, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it something that has to be said right at that moment? Is it something that can wait? And then the last one is it kind? Is it coming from a kind space in your heart? Or are you just saying it to get someone's attention? So it's not that there's a lot of rules, but there are ways to set yourself up for positive interactions. Avoiding means that you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out on time with relatives that they're not always going to be there. They're not always going to be around. It means missing out on the experience, the lessons, and it means missing out on growth, our own and the other person's. Now, I'm not saying that you should walk into any situation and, when you do a lot of work on yourself, sometimes I've seen people, they can get a little spiritual ego going on. We all are where we're at, and that's okay. You don't have to lower yourself to meet someone where they're at, but you can respect where they're at, and you can value where you are, and you can take the lesson and run with it. So I hope that gave you some valuable tips. I hope that you're able to utilize some of them and put them into place, because it's not about just the family parties or the gatherings. It could be when you're out shopping and the person in the line in front of you is not being very nice. Maybe you're the grumpy one, and maybe there needs to be some love and kindness given to you. Do one act of kindness for someone else and see what comes back to you. So it's a special time of the year because we can give people gifts, but not all gifts have to be monetary. They don't have to be material. They can be an acknowledgement of who they are, seeing somebody truly for who they are, who they've always been, or who they are now. So be kind to yourself. And when you're talking to yourself, use those 3 gates for yourself too. Is it true? Is this useful? Is it necessary? And am I being kind? Is it coming from a kind space? So I want to remind you that I'll see you next Wednesday for the next moment of presence. If you want more information about me and who I am, you can visit mokshagrace.com. On social media, I'm pretty much everywhere. Hashtag Moksha Grace Coaching. And I really look forward to hearing from you. Drop comments. Let me know how things are going. How did the holidays go? What did you do different? What one thing did you do different? And let's plan on 2023 being the year that you expand, you welcome it all in. Because we're not here to get through life. We're here to experience it and have fun. Have fun with it. So enjoy all the planning that's going on. No matter what you're celebrating, this is definitely the week that everybody's planning something. So enjoy yourself. Get out there. Stop avoiding. Take control. Walk out the door and share with the world you, the best you. See you next week.